Diane, you are joining us from which group do you lead, Diane?
In Australia, Queensland. I'm in North Queensland.
You're in North Queensland. That's amazing.
Hello.
Welcome. Megan, you're here as well. As I was saying, there has been a slight shift in terms of Jacquie being available to be on tonight's call because she is currently in transit. So she has sent some admins from some of the practical lawful dissent groups. We've got Diane from Queensland, Australia. We've got a few others who are here as well. And so it's Chantal Matheson, my often co-host and one who helps with the questions. It's her birthday today, so a happy huge birthday to Chantal, who's not able to be with us today for different reasons than that. But what I thought would be a really powerful way to make the most of the time that we have here together as more people come on. We do have people that are in process. We've got people that have completed the process. Jacquie has a wealth of information, but the thing that can't be overlooked is the fact that all of us who are going through the process have experiences and insights and wisdom that can be useful as well. So what I would love for this platform to be this evening, since we don't have Jacquie coming on for the information the way that we were expecting, is that what I thought that we could actually in the process and
Godzilla has atomic breath all over him and he's done because he's first gonna go.
I just muted you out, but you're welcome to unmute yourself as well. If you have anything to contribute, just you come in when you're not muted. So just moderating the noise here. And so Mariette, now I understand you've got a different name than Mariette, but that's what we can see. You're muted, sorry. We cannot hear you yet.
Hi.
Hello.
Yep. Marietti is my name in my pen name. How's that? Yeah, short for Elizabeth, and then a couple of my other names in there. So it's me.
Beautiful. Okay, Mariette, fabulous. Welcome. Thank you. And which of the practical lawful dissent groups do you run then?
I don't run any of them, but I do answer some posts or put posts up. So the original one, the big one, the UK, Canada, and the Commonwealth.
Yes.
I do a little bit of dabbing in the Ireland one and the South African one. So it's still a learning process.
Yeah. Fantastic. All right. Well, ladies, I'm not sure whether we're going to have as many people jumping on tonight. It's not looking like it. And I am under the impression that Jacquie made a note on the practical lawful dissent group to say that she wasn't going to be able to join in here. So it may have dissuaded some from joining in, but we can really still make the most of our time together. So what I am going to do is still go. Do we need to go live? Not really so much. Do you feel like we need to go live onto Facebook? We can make an executive decision. We're 9 ladies who are ready to meet each other and know who's doing this and where you're at and what questions you've got. So because it's a smaller group and because things have changed around, we don't need to post it live unless you feel like it would be something that you'd like to be having stream live. I'm not attached. I just want to make this the best experience for those of us who have already made the decision to be here.
I do know there's a couple more.
I'm happy for it not. I'm happy for it not to be live. Yeah. I've got a photograph up because I might lose connection if I had a video up because I'm working on a dongle within a boat. So it's just better to put a photograph, otherwise I lose the signal.
Perfect. No problem.
I'm Megan.
And Mariette, you were going to say?
Thank you.
There's a couple more admins that are supposed to come join in tonight too.
Oh, great. Okay. So what we'll do then is we will start so how many admins? I've got, Mariette, you're kind of like an admin, not officially.
Moderator.
So you're a moderator, and Diane's a moderator as well. Does anyone else have an administrative role within the Practical Lawful? Doesn't Lorena?
Hello, yes, it's Lorena.
Lorena.
Yeah.
And what is your role then?
I'm just trying to seek some answers and find out what we can do to improve things.
Yeah, absolutely. So has everyone had an opportunity to watch the 2 summits that we've had before and the podcast that Jacquie and I did? So
Yeah.
those resources are very valuable for getting an understanding of this process. And then obviously the Practical Lawful Dissent group has a tremendous wealth of information and resources. And we've got some of those resources on this call tonight. So even though this call was advertised to be with Jacquie Phoenix, who has been a huge proponent behind the movement for international redress, she is in travels right now to the next destination with the UK tour. And so she has sent some of the admins and moderators for the Practical Lawful Dissent groups that are available on Facebook. So the first thing that we're going to do tonight is going to be actually introduce some of the other people that are moving forward. And so we're going to actually start with Mariette. And if you would please be willing to give an introduction to yourself, where you're from, how far you are into the process, and then if there are any questions or comments or your reason for coming onto the call tonight, I think that could really help other people who are earlier into the process be able to feel more comfortable. And then any questions, we can put those into the chat, or we can get those, just raise your hand and then we can certainly address these. But Mariette, if you would please start.
Okay, well, I'm in Canada. I'm northwest of the capital city of Edmonton. And when all this stuff started happening last year, it got me thinking, and I had to figure out what was truth and what wasn't. So I had a friend who's a little woo-woo, right? We all have them. And so she says, I took the oath. And I'm going, okay, what is that? And then she sends me a link to Practical Lawful Dissent, UK, Canada, and Commonwealth. So I decided to go check it up. And then I thought, wow, this kind of makes sense. I started reading, being quiet. And then I took the oath, thinking I could unoath it if I didn't like it, but you can't do that. And then I started with the process. So it took me a month to get my nerves up to say, I can do this. So I took the oath, mailed it to Lord Craig Miles, spelled his name wrong, sent it anyways. And everything was basically like I didn't have it on the computer, so I would write it by hand, a lot of it. And then it took me a month before I could declare my standing to the police and the court because I was that scared, right? And once you do it, though, you go bring it on now. So I've done a couple of them. I've made sure that my little area is well covered with notices. So we've got the council. I've got the 3 C's. I've got the oath, the 3 C's, which is the cops, the courts, and the councils. And I guess I've been one of the blessed ones. I've got a couple of rebuttal letters I had to do. And so Jacquie had to do my first, because when I started, I would yell Jackie's name like, Jacquie! So she had to come and help me. She did my first rebuttal, which was to council. The judge did not like that I picked a name and I sent it to the judge. So they sent me the legal counsel with no signature. It was just a stamp and whatever. So you know they're a little scared. And so first rebuttal was out and I was scared to mail it because it was pretty straightforward, telling them they're committing sedition and they're foreign corporation. So I mailed it. And then they told me not to answer anymore. So I kept going ahead with the process, the 5 notice. And then I put that person, that Mitchell, on the 5 notice process because they need to get informed and educated. And then I got the CSS after me, which is the Corporate Security Services. So I thought, okay, Jacquie. So, and Jacquie says, well, you can do it because you already have the first letter. Okay, so I put it together and she approved it and I sent it out. So and then it starts going, and then the citation came out with Jackie's name. And if you look in the citation, my name is in there because I PP'd Jackie's name. So I'm going, okay, this is interesting. Send it to the judge, Greaser, who's there, which is Jacquie just did a really good statement on this Greaser judge. And so I got him on notice. I got the newspaper on notice. I got the chief editor on notice because they need to get informed and educated, collecting the evidence and everything else. So yeah, I got a couple of good ones. And then they send me another one that says that the next one I'm going to put on notice is this one, Alberta Justice and Solicitor General, because they ended up being so nice that they sent me the citation. I don't think they know my name is in there, so I'll send it to the MP and to the on the provincial and federal government because they need to get informed and educated, and I need to collect the information. So, yeah, so it's been quite interesting.
And how long have you been in the process?
Pardon me?
How long have you been doing this?
I started in May.
So it's just been this year that you've been moving forward.
Yeah.
With this.
Well, last 2020. Yeah.
Yeah.
So May, June, put the mayor on notice. That didn't work. So put town council on notice. That didn't answer at all. Put the CEO on notice because they were trying to enforce some of their acts in legislature. So I'm going, no. Alberta, the little hospital that we have in town, on notice. I just sent in the 4th notice for that one. Yep, continue on. And then Jackie's asked for us to do a couple more, which is the BBC, Canadian Heritage Minister, and the CBC, which is the small baby of the BBC, and all that. So most of those are done, and go from there. So I'm collecting evidence. One day they will have to answer for this. They're taking my time.
Right?
Absolutely.
I love the attitude. And this is the thing about being a sovereign being, is the amount of power that comes with knowing that just because somebody has acquired a job title doesn't mean that they're above the law, and that this in fact holds everyone accountable to the laws that all of us are meant to be listening to, which is the common laws. And if we actually understand how to separate common law from civil law, and to be able to actually understand we're not corporations, but we're being treated with as such until we change that. And this process is a great way to do that. So if I could have somebody else brazenly unmute yourself to share your journey with going through the process of submitting your articles, how long you've been doing it, it could really help somebody that is feeling a bit nervous. Because I know for myself, Chantal and I were going to go to serve the cops on Tuesday, and then we knew this was coming up, and we've had so much going on, and we just weren't quite sure how to go about it. And what we felt is that the fact we, as committed as we are still pretty nervous about how to go about the process means that the likelihood is that there are a lot of other people who are even more scared, maybe not quite so ready to be forthcoming in their desire to be part of the change that they seek in this world. So we were going to talk about that with Jacquie tonight, but I am hosting this meeting to say that I too am in the process in the early stages, but we're doing this because I know that we're not the only ones with questions. We're not the only ones with fears. And what I love is the fact that while we've got Mario representing, it is largely women in this meeting tonight. And I find it always interesting in the patterns that show up when it happens. There are more women that come into one meeting and then more men into another. So if somebody wants to step forward and share, Lorena, would you be willing to share your journey once you're unmuted?
My journey's only just beginning. I kind of understand the concept. I just don't understand the process. I'm trying to find sort of like a step-by-step flowchart type thing, and to kind of explain exactly what I'm doing with each of these letters, what the meaning is, and what it actually means, as opposed to just writing the letter so that they know that you're claiming that you standing under common law rather than their law. but I'm not very confident that I know enough about what I'm doing to actually do it, if you understand what I mean.
Well, and that's why so many of us haven't moved forward. And so that's why if you watched last week's summit, what that was actually going through were the 5 notices after the oath of allegiance. So if you watch last week's summit, then you'll actually have the whole process outlined with questions, and then what we can do next week, if that's going to work with the schedule, then we can schedule one where Jacquie can come, and then if you guys can bring questions, that would be really helpful. Or if you could even let us know how we can best use this platform, that would also be incredibly helpful. I am hosting these just only because it needs to happen. So I run them just only because it needs to happen, and I don't need to be the one talking, and I know that I do a lot of it, but I want to simply give us all an opportunity to get the questions that we need answered, to give us a space to feel comfortable to do that, a space to say you're not in this alone, that you can see other people that are willing to take a stand and move forward with what's going to work for us, and the amount of creative power we have to be able to actually use our voice. Yes, Lorena?
Sorry. The last week, I mean, I missed last week. So is that available anywhere for me to rewatch? Where will I find that?
Yeah. Are you in the meetup group?
I am, yes.
Yeah.
I think so. I'll get the meetup email, yeah.
Beautiful. So in the meetup group, I post, what I'm going to be doing is sharing a link with the podcast episode, and then the first summit, second summit, and then this summit links for the YouTube videos. I'll put into the next meetup group's description. So I'm trying to get into a flow of figuring out how to do this most easily. And so it's a learning curve. I'm doing my best, but I'll have it into the next meetup group, which I'll get scheduled as soon as I've had confirmation from Jacquie. Diane, would you be willing to speak into your process or your journey with this, how long you've been at it and where you're at with it as well, please?
Yeah, sure. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Lovely to be here, and I think you're doing great work, Laura. And what I love about this movement is it's evolving. It's not something that was written or set. And Marie, I love your descent on. You know, what you've contributed is gutsy, and I think everyone's contributed such great power. Even Nicole, she stepped up and done a great job as admin, and she works hard, and everyone works hard and does this voluntary, and people don't realize how much passion and how much power is behind what everyone's doing here. And it's been a great drive for me to see what can be done. Jacquie even, she's a dynamo who's gone from Canada, from the heat of Canada to the ground zero in the UK to show us the way to do this. And it's a beautiful movement, and in fact, I believe it's miraculous, and that Article 61 was left to us for exactly this time and place and reason, to be able to have our freedom back and have our rights and our Commonwealth. And if anything, I believe this is probably more for common people than anybody. And something I see all the time is people trying to be legal about this and thinking that they have to know the law, but it's not that hard. It's very basic, and we really only need to know what David has given us and what Magna Carta Article 61 says, and that's it. there's not a lot more to this. And I think people overcomplicate it, and it isn't that complicated. It is a different language in some respects. It's written in Old English and it's not legal. So people have a hard time accepting the change of that. But in fact, it's perfect. And I believe it's truly miraculous, actually.
I love that.
So for me here in North Queensland, when I first started, I put ads out around Facebook in the local groups, and the threats that I got were unbelievable. You know, just people thought I was a sovereign citizen, or I was going to rebel, or I was going to, you know, do something that would upset the society, really. And that's settled down a lot, and we have a few followers here, but it's very difficult to get people to actually make a commitment and act. And yesterday I had one of the guys who I've been mentoring had his first notice to courts returned as refused. And, you know, everyone's sort of gone, ooh, you know, but in fact, I think all those things have to happen and come out, and we have to deal with them and learn how to process that. And, you know, Jacquie's comment was resend it in another envelope. You know, it wasn't march in there and demand that they take it, you know. So I think the whole process is much simpler than we believe. And but the key is unity and getting people together quickly. That's my goal. So I'm starting to travel and help people, you know, within 2-3 hours of my area. And I'm putting together a bit of a plan for that right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you, Diane. Thank you. And you're absolutely right. It is far simpler than what we think that it is. But simple and easy are not the same thing. So as simple as the process is, it doesn't mean it's going to be easy to actually get yourself out of the way in order to go forward with it. Because something we have to remember as we do this is the fact that enlightenment is the ego's greatest disappointment, and empowerment is, generally speaking, our ego's greatest fear. Because throughout the years, it has not been safe for us to be sovereign. It hasn't been safe for us to come on to here. All of this would be is a great way for them to round up the witches in the past. And now we have a chance to change that and to say, you know what? They were taken out back then because those women that gathered were powerful, because they came together with a common heart that said, this is our community and we're responsible for making it better. And that's what we're doing right now. So I would love to hear another story about someone else who is in this process that has moved forward. Catherine, have you moved forward at all in putting out notices, signing your oath?
Very slowly but surely. I did actually get it together to do my oaths, and then yeah, somehow the receipt for sending it off got messed up. So I'm starting again, but no, I am. Yeah, it's just been such an amazing, interesting, fascinating journey, which I feel like I'm still really at the very, very beginnings. And I think what slows me down a bit, and I don't think it's a bad thing, is that I'm the kind of person who likes to know why. So I'm getting over, and I found that I have had to get over the overwhelm of it all. I mean, dealing with the, you know, the situation in the world as it is, and just deciding what my path was going to be. And now that I have decided, sort of getting my head around it all, and I just really like to delve into the history of it. And I'm in kind of two minds of the needing and wanting to do this really quickly. When I'm not sure how effective that might be, because of it's, I think, going to be a monumental task once we do have redress. It's like the what next, and that what next is absolutely huge, and I think we just can't rush to that. You know, especially when we're dealing globally, essentially. It's like, you know, getting a meeting together and getting consensus is hard enough, never mind doing it on this scale. So I do think there has to be an element of organization and thought put into it. Yeah, I have been able to connect with some people where I live, and that in itself has been an interesting journey. Different people finding their ways at different times and thinking different things about it, and some people, I think, coming to the conclusion that it's rubbish, and some people coming to the conclusion that, yeah, it's good in itself, but it's going to need so many people to make it work. And almost, to my mind, kind of using that as an excuse to not really follow through, which is really not where I'm at. So yeah, so I'm at the very, very early stages, but very, very excited about it. And it's just opened up a whole yeah, a whole new avenue of learning around democracy and yeah, just community and activism and working with people, and just everything that I never took a blind bit of notice of. I had no time for politics at all up until last year, I think, or when I started doing community organizing. And likewise with history, and maybe it's a good thing that I really didn't pay attention to history in school. So yeah, I'm really having to do a lot of talking to myself and not getting overwhelmed, and just being happy with the amount that I am able to do. And somehow I've just managed to come to a place of being, I don't know, somewhere between calm doesn't quite cut it, but serene seems a little bit fluffy. So somewhere in between there, I just feel like actually I am feeling kind of on the outside, the overwhelm and this, that, and the other, but actually inside, I'm feeling like I am where I need to be and I'm on the right path, and I feel really excited about it. And I feel like the coffee has kicked in and I should stop now. So
You did awesome. That was perfect. And do you know that's the thing? It's like we can't expect ourselves to not be afraid through this. We really have to also be very aware of our emotional states while we're doing this. Because if we're coming into this, the fear is going to be there because we're stepping outside of the comfort zone. It's just like when you like step off the edge and you're looking down and you don't know whether your wings are going to work for the first time, it's a terrifying concept. So regardless, we're right there. And it's just like, we have to just be willing to build our wings on the way down. It's just like we can't wait to not feel fear, because the fear is going to be there, but we also can't act from that place of fear. So fear can't be the motivation, would be my recommendation and how I'm approaching this. And so I love that you had mentioned that, Catherine, about the chaos on the outside, but then the serene and the peace within. Because if we don't have that peace within, then all of this is going to make it where we become like the house that was built on sand instead of digging down deep. So really, I would encourage, and maybe this is just redundant to say, just mind your emotions and just literally pay attention to them, and only act when you're able to act from a place of inspiration or fun. Because you're going to be able to then bring that energy of creation into what you're doing. Whereas if you bring fear, you're doing the same thing, but you're bringing that energy in, which means when you go to submit your notice and when you go to the post office, it's like when Chantel and I went, we got escorted outside by the manager in order to send off our registered letter because we weren't wearing a mask and we weren't going to be served without one. But he did serve us on the outside. But it was just, we came in with some fear, and I recorded it and I haven't posted it because I have a friend that I had shown it to who said, that's phenomenal, way to go, super proud of you, but if you're going to be a leader, you can't show that video because the people who are watching you be scared are going to say, if she's scared, I'm not, no. And so I haven't showed that video just yet, and it wasn't that we were terrified and shaking in our boots, but I was also acknowledging what was going on inside because of the process that I was going through that I want others to be able to see. And sometimes I'm a little too candid. So I'll own that too and say, I don't know whether it's as powerful as it could have been what we showed, but it is to say that we amplify whatever we're focused on. So if we come in with fear, we're going to get matched with fear. If we come in from a space of fear around and yet feeling safe within ourselves, then move from that space, and it's from a grounded position compared to on the surface where somebody can do something and then we're impacted. So really moving out of the cause and effect end of the spectrum towards the cause of being in control of our own emotional states rather than at the effect of we have to do this. Because anytime we're in obligation, we're also in the energy or the dysfunctional energy of irresponsibility and creating dysfunctionally compared to freedom and constraint, which are the functional opposites. So it's just the functional and dysfunctional creative spectrum I wanted to bring into your awareness with this process, if it's helpful or of interest. And if it's not, feel free to leave it. I know it's a bit woo-woo, and I've definitely that for many of my friends.
Could I just one more thing I'd really like to say, how much I really, really appreciate and I'm so grateful to have these this live arena to actually speak to people about it. Because I think I found on a lot of the social media, there's a lot of like, oh, well, just go away and read it. Go away and read it. Don't ask questions. Go away and read it. And I think this really acknowledges that there are different people have different ways of learning. And my way of learning is to speak to people. And I can take things in that way. I just go cross-eyed trying to look at a screen all the time and read stuff. I mean, I do it and I do take a certain amount in. But I think this really speaks to and is much more, well, it adds to the inclusiveness that needs to be for it to reach as many people as it can.
Beautiful. Well, I'm grateful. I appreciate the feedback. I'm really glad, and I know you guys, people keep showing up, so I trusted that, but the validation helps, and yet sometimes we can't move forward with the hope for that validation, or else that's placing that power outside in the chaos that can be taken from us too. So I do appreciate it, and it wasn't necessary, but I'm very, very, very grateful to be able to be in this process with each of you, and I'm the same way, to go and if you do need any of the information, everything is in the units. But to say everything's in the units and then you get in there and it's just like this document's 20 pages and this one's 200 and this one's 30, and it's just, it can be overwhelming and you feel like you've made some progress because you printed off the document that then sits in the cupboard for a month or two. And so these are our way of just staying accountable to ourselves, to each other, and to have that support. Does anyone else have someone you wanted to, or something you want to bring forward, or a question that we could either have one of the moderators or someone in the process answer, or we could get marked for next time?
Laura, I'm quite interested how David passed away, and I don't know why really, but it seems important because he's obviously a young guy, or he's in his mid-50s, and I don't know, is it a secret, or do we know why he died? There was nothing about that, you know. He was doing like a podcast in sort of the autumn, and then he died. And do you know anything about that?
I have to jump in on that one because Jackie just posted something yesterday on it again. He died of natural causes.
Yeah.
And already in the post in there. So yeah, November 10 is when he passed. And I think he had, is it multiple sclerosis?
Okay.
Something he's had, yeah. So
Muscular dystrophy. I
Thank
think
you.
it was.
It's just that people ask that because this, 2020 was a year when people, disappeared, and I know people in the group I'm in asked that, and so thank you for
that's
that.
been answered a couple of times already, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Jackie's answered on it, and she's got one, I think, in announcements you can see under David there, and she explains it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Well, to be honest, I've got the info group up and our own sort of group chat, but I keep the chats down, so it might be worth joining the Lawful Dissent chat group to get those sort of bits of information. The Telegram groups are getting quite crowded at the moment. So
Yeah, the
okay,
main
thank
group. Yeah, the main group that Jackie refers to is the UK, Canada, and Commonwealth. So up-to-date information is in that one.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I talk on David a little bit?
Please.
He was very active and started the group, and he was quite sick then, in fact, and he's fought a battle with his disease for a long time, so it wasn't new at all. But the work he did and what he's provided us was, I don't think one person could ever do that. So what he's done while he's been sick has been phenomenal, and it was quite taxing on him, I'd say. And his journey through the group was really interesting because he started the group and then Jacquie came in and started to do UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. And David stepped back, and there was another UK group as well that he separated from, Practical Lawful Dissent group there, that's caused a lot of disharmony actually in the whole thing. And he renounced that group and left because of the infighting or whatever happened. And then he came back in the last, I think it was about 6 months before he passed away. He came back into UK Canada group and gave us the information that we needed right now to continue this and to get redress. And then he passed away. It was devastating and sad, but he did his duty and it was beautiful. And, it's sad that people doubt him or what happened, but in fact, it's exactly the way it was meant to be. And we really can't change it, but we really should honour him instead of feeling that there was something wrong or different. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
can
also,
I just say there, I wasn't saying we thought there was something wrong. It was just that maybe none of us had got hold of that information and we weren't given it. I mean, I absolutely agree with you. His talks are phenomenal, and it might well have been, if he had MS, it might well have been the thing, his raison d'etre, that kept him going for as long as he did. So, it was a driving force that maybe kept him alive longer than he would have. So, totally honour that, what you've just said. Yeah.
absolutely. And that question, sorry, hasn't only been asked by you. And that's why I wanted to say something about it, because we have to honour him and not keep bringing up what happened. And it's okay to ask. But the information is in the group, in the announcements about David there. And, I think it's time for people to really run with this and what he's given us. And in saying that, Laura, I have to go. I'm really sorry, guys, but I've got an appointment and I have to go. So I'm going to leave.
It's perfect, Diane. Thank you very much. And
Thank you. Thanks for your answer.
I was going to say as well that with this thing called life, it's just like we all have a mission for being here, and whatever our faith foundation is behind that, I think it is really important to understand that it's just like sometimes we can take our baby so far, and then it's just like David wasn't meant to be the one to take it beyond where he did. It's us.
No, you are.
We are. We are.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So I asked,
that's right.
I love that. And
Absolutely.
I'm so grateful that he can be honored in that way. Diane, did you have something else you wanted to say before you have to go?
Thank you, Laura, and everyone. Talk again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
I was wondering, where is everybody from? Like, I know we're all over, but I'm in Ontario. Is anybody here from Ontario?
I'm also in Ontario.
Are you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
how far are you?
I'm in Norfolk County,
Which is,
in between Brantford and Woodstock.
okay, because I'm in Guelph, Ontario, which is close to Burlington, Toronto, London.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing how, people don't know anything here. Number one, about Magna Carta. Number two, about these mask situations. And if I was feeling better, I'd be more active or proactive towards doing something. But, it's, I've had a few people, like usually I got the tag from the site, and nobody bothers me usually. There's only one person that makes me wear a mask, and he knows I have no choice to go into his shop, and that's where I get my alkaline water. But yesterday I had another guy just to stay away from me, like I'm the leper. It was just weird. Some of the, and it's all the elderly though that's wearing the masks. But and then the other thing, all the stores are closed. It's only curbside pickup, so you're not really seeing a lot unless if you're going shopping, for groceries, and that's it.
Well, that's the point. Keep your bubble small, keep your circle of information small. Your ability to gain access to new information or people that are alternative in their thinking, like what we are, or that say that we have the power and it's our responsibility to do something with it. It's dangerous to have access to people like this, which is why they shrink the cycle or the circle. And to have done it on Boxing Day was the perfect way to eliminate the small businesses that were able to stay open for a little longer in order to make it so that by the time the confusion is less, then the big box chains that are the only ones that are still the main retailers are still open.
And they have all the power.
Have been closed, and the big box chains, I bet, will have already changed their bylaws to actually make it a mandatory policy, because right now this masking mandate is not actually law and it's not enforceable because this is all treasonous, as we all are aware. But if they box change as part of this corporatocracy, change their bylaws, that's when then we will not be able to be served unless we do comply with their requirements, and they can ask us to leave if we don't, because then it's part of corporate policy. So hopefully we're not too late in actually being able to move forward before they've done that, because we're the ones that are signing those papers in the corporations and the chains that say that we're okay to give away further power and make it a mandatory policy. So that's what we're really needing to.
But they're using this COVID as the excuse.
Well, of course. Yeah.
And so they're also wanting to go digital as well and do everything on the computer. Nobody goes out for anything anymore.
Our heart fields overlap at 6 feet. So we're far more powerful when our heart fields are overlapping. So to keep us separate and then to make us fearful of each other, it also decreases our charge between each other, and then additionally makes it easier for AI facial recognition software with the 6 foot. So it's all intentional. It's all by design. I've even heard it's connected to the Fibonacci sequence and the numbers and all of that stuff. But that's not specifically why we're here tonight, because we're more talking about the solutions rather than the problems. So I want to make sure that I honor everybody that has come on tonight. And so does anyone have any questions? I'm not so good at reading all of the chat, though I see that there's some great stuff that has.
Well, we need people for redress, right? We need people for redress. And that's what it's the main thing. What it's about is uniting the people, and I guess that's maybe another reason for keeping us separated too. You know, so that we're not able to unite. But I do have a good 100 people on my email that I send, you know, sites and things for them to learn about health, and I have sent things about Magna Carta as well. But we'll see what happens. You know, I don't know if the site has got any new people at all. You know, I'm doing the best I can.
Beautiful. Well, and that's what it is. Like, we all have a circle of influence of around 250 people. So everyone, and some have a larger sphere of influence than others, but all of us have the ability to impact people we don't think that we have any impact over. People we don't think are watching. It's just like there's 4 people. It's the people that, you know, the people that don't think you can do it are watching. The people who know you can do it are watching. The people who want to know what you're doing are watching, and the people that want to know what you're doing are watching. It's like everybody is watching, hoping that somebody's going to do something. So we've done this tonight, and I want to make sure that if nobody does have any questions, that it's not just me talking for the sake of it because it's scheduled. So if no one has questions, or if you don't want to share your journey, then we'll wrap up tonight's meeting. And the next meeting, we'll make sure that we've got Jacquie on, and maybe we can get some more people that are further in the process to share testimonials or perspectives. If anyone has any questions in the meantime, please start conversation in the meetup group. That's what it's there for. You've got the Practical Lawful Dissent Canada, UK, and Commonwealth group as well to be able to gather information from. So please keep.
Well, I do have another question.
Yes.
Like, we don't just serve our politicians. I'm going as far as even serving our institutions. But that's because I have issues with them. So, like, is that a proper way to go? Because they're institutions, they're corporate agencies. So you do serve them.
Else answer that. If we have someone well qualified for that, or we can make sure to get you the answer. I have opinions, but I don't want to give an uninformed, boundless answer just for the sake of it. Does anyone else know the answer to that?
Michelle, did you want to answer that one?
Where is she serving the notices to?
I'm sending them to the Law Society of Upper Canada, which is now Law Society of Ontario, the medical system, the social services system, where I already got the politician for that, but I guess I'm going to the actual office, because there's offices all over the province, right? So I'll be doing their institutions as well.
Yeah, so basically I would just be going after whoever has been unlawful to you. You're saying your medical, anybody that you feel that's not been fair to you, you know, with the medical part of it, you're not getting, say, your treatment, or you're not being, you know, you've been turned away and stuff like that. Go after them, of course, and go after the head again, you know, whoever's above them. You go after each person that you can. Same with child services, the teachers. Then you can go after like the TDs, the teachers, and whoever's in the education system. You know, that whoever's been just working unlawfully, and as a corporation, go after them. That's what I would be doing.
Okay, so that is the right process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't hear Mariette. I think she's talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Get
are.
everybody covered. So if you need to go from your local, provincial, federal, go so on, get everything covered up on all levels. And I think before we end, Jackie would be a little disappointed if we don't bring in what Article 61 is all about and why we're here for. Right, Michelle?
Oh,
She
yeah.
got us to come on board today, so we have to say something.
Amazing. Well, I apologize for not having done that sooner, obviously.
That's okay, because she would hold us accountable if we don't say something. So ideally, Article 61 has been invoked in 2001. There's a reason for it. It's because of treason. Treason's been committed. The Queen had a job. She had a role. She failed in it. Her oath was broken to the people, and that triggered that clause, the treason clause. So what we have to do now is collect the evidence and put an end to this tyranny. And if we want an end to it, we have to step it up a notch. So we definitely have to do our work, get the groundwork going, get under oath. Don't be scared, because the oath changes you from that admiral law to constitutional law. So which side of the metal do you want to sit on? You know, I got the one post that says sitting on the post is you don't have a chance anymore.
Well,
you know, no time to sit on the fence. You have to step it up. Yep.
Like as I said, if people will have a tool to use, so use it.
Yes.
You know, you have to use what you're given. And I've watched some of David's videos, and you know what, his knowledge is unreal, and it's a pleasure to watch what he says. It's inspiring, and it's fantastic. You know, even when he's talking to other people that are dealing with common law, he's doing it in a peaceful way, and you know, you're not being rowdy or nothing. You're peaceful. You're serving notices, and you're collecting their evidence, and it's quite exciting waiting for the postman to see what you're going to get. So I think it's a great move that he's done. It's fantastic, and well done to Jackie for keep going with it. You know, it's
and can I just ask, do you, Marietta and Michelle, do you now not pay taxes or mortgage? Do you not pay them anymore?
Well, I've never paid my property tax, but I've got a letter in the door there recently, so I'm going to serve them now with a conditional acceptance notice, and just going to serve the 5 notices to that. But no, I'll not be paying it. There's another letter come in for tax as well, so that's all revenue. So we'll see how we go with it. And once I have the notices served, and once I get my evidence back from them, I will be posting it on the group for others to see. Look, here you go. But I actually did serve notices to, I won't say what it was, but somebody else that was looking for money off me. And, you know, they kept ignoring the notices, and they just kept looking for the money off me and arrears and stuff. And I just kept giving them, you know, my rebuttal notices then. And I've had no word since. So I'm waiting to see.
Wow.
Because the notices, if you read the notices, they're so powerful in what they say, you know, and on it says, I don't want to break the law here, but if you can prove to me that you're lawful and you have a right to be asking me for this money, then of course I will pay you. But they can't. They're not able to answer me.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
So I always tell people, read your notices. Don't be afraid of them, because of the language that they're in, but it's so powerfully worded. So it's great to see it. And yeah, well done to David for doing it for us.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah.
Could I just ask a question? I know it might be a bit of a strange one.
All good.
I was talking about this subject to someone else today, and they sort of turned around and said, well, if you're not paying into the system, what do you do when you need an ambulance?
You still receive assistance, because under the 4 common law rules, one of the conditions around that, and somebody else may have the better language, is to say that you're not going to deprive yourself of things that you need. From my understanding, Jacquie, that was how Jacquie had explained it in a better way. But essentially, if you need an ambulance, that's something that you need. And under this, it's not to damage you, to separate you from the things that you need. This is just to say the things that we need are under a regime that is being treasonous. So we still need to use these services, but we just want the guys up top and girls to be able to you know, not be treasonous and for our services to be accessed. So you can still receive them even if you are under notice.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think also the money we've been paying in through taxes over the years and mortgages far exceeds what we need for our services, and then we have to ask, what has that money been going into? And we might find it's been going into some dark black projects or some nefarious projects that will come to light, and then you almost think, well, I don't want to be part of that. But the money that comes in through tax and council tax for our services is way beyond what is needed, really.
There's a really powerful story that I would like to share as an ending for today's meeting, though if anyone has a question, we can certainly address that before the end. And it's the story about a newly married bride was making one of her first meals with her hubby, and they're in the kitchen together. And as she's making this pork loin, she cuts off the end and sticks it in, and she throws out the end and then puts it into the oven. And her husband's like, honey, why did you just cut off the end? That was perfectly good meat. She's like, well, Mom always did it. And so then he said, well, you got to figure this out because that's perfectly good. There's no reason that should have happened. Why would you be doing that? And she said, well, I don't know. Call Mom. She always did it. So that's how I did it. And so anyway, they call Mom. And then Mom says, well, I don't know. That was the way that Mom always did it. So it happened they were having a family dinner. So Grandma was coming over. So they figured they'd save it. So all of them are at the table. And as they're eating this roast, they end up saying, okay, Grandma, we got a question for you. And we want to understand why you always cut the end off the pork roast, because he asked and we want to tell him the real answer. She said, are you kidding me? You guys still do that? That was only because the dish that your grandpa and I got for our wedding gift was too small to fit the whole
Too small.
We had to cut it off. And then, so it's like, how many of us are just cutting off the roast end because that was what we were trained, was the way that it happened, only because somebody before was doing the best they could and now we know better. So I'm glad that we got some laughs at the end of this. Does anyone have anything you wanted to share right before the end?
Yep.
Mariette?
I'll take back to what Jackie says. Let's get the groundwork done. And today, if she would have been on, she would have had us watching the William Keat video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's in the files. Please watch it. And especially, she says, to stop it where William starts grumbling. His grumbles or something. So, and it's all to do with the redress, right? So we're pressing for redress. And we need to know it. We need to know what we're going for. And we need the rule of law. So rule of law, jury nullification, that is what we're going for. So, yep, she would tell us to say it again. So,
well, I'm glad to be here.
What's that?
I am glad to be here.
Well, I'm glad we're all together for sure. And if, definitely what we have to hear is Jackie in the background, because when Jackie first got into this, it was to learn. And when she figured out that Canada or wherever we're all from, we needed to hear it, she did everything she had to do. And that little girl is a little spitfire, and she's focused. And boy, I tell you, we need more like that. We need to just go focus and get it going, because if we're pressing for redress, we better be ready.
She can pass for a lawyer herself.
Pardon?
What's that?
She can pass for a lawyer herself.
Yeah, she didn't want to be a lawyer. Yeah, no, she's lawful. She's standing lawful. She knows what she's standing for. She knows what we got and how powerful it is, because it cannot be stopped. It's like once Article 61 has been invoked, it's like poof, let its magic take over. It's we the people that need to join in. And
it's been for 20 years.
At least.
I can't believe that.
It's been hidden from us for 18 years. So if we don't have redress, that's the reason. It's because they hid it from us. So let's go for it, people.
Well, she did us a favor. They did us a favor, really. In 2001, they did us a favor. Otherwise, we'd have to be invoking it now. And that would be another problem. So the fact that the barons got together then, even though they didn't do much afterwards, they did us a favor in a way.
Oh, they did their job. They were infused to get this going for us, because treason was being committed. The Queen had a job,
Yep.
she filled it, and if we don't believe it, FCO 30/1048.
1048. Yeah.
Documents. Yeah, and there's a lot going on, and there's, you know, we need to read some more. Simple. Article 61 is the remedy. Article 61 is the clause for treason, is the treason clause. Let's go get them. Let's put an end to this so we can have our future, our children's future. So we don't have to worry, because little bit by bit, I tell you, they're taking away from us, and we're the ones who are not wearing a mask are being blamed for what's going on. So
Yeah.
acts and statutes and legislation, null and void, period. They're committing treason.
Yeah.
I have
So
another.
how many people are ready to take a lead in each province here when the call of action comes?
Oh,
Yeah, right,
Yeah, I would be.
yes, I'm with you.
I would be.
Yep. So we
Yeah.
got one, Jean. Who else?
Megan.
Megan, where's Megan? I'm looking for Megan. Megan, all right.
Bristol,
Not in
UK.
Canada though.
Megan, right there. Hi, Megan. Oh, we need
Yeah.
them all over the world, right?
Yeah.
But in Canada, we got Ontario. Jean, where are you from? Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jean's on mute.
Jean, can you unmute yourself?
There we go.
Can't hear you.
Ah, there you go.
Hey.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Where are you from, Jean?
UK, Bristol.
Perfect.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
And I hear Jacquie is coming to visit us soon, so I can't wait to meet her.
She's
And little
coming
fire.
to my place, Jean. So
Yeah.
Is she? Well, I'll meet you
We're
too
in Bristol
then.
as
you
well.
will, and you'll meet Catherine.
Yeah.
So there's three of
Nice.
us here
Oh,
from-
brilliant. I've heard
Yeah.
about you, Catherine. Are you Claire's friend?
Yes.
Yes. I saw Claire today.
Okay, cool.
So I'll come and meet you soon.
Oh, nice one. That would be great.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Great.
Michelle over here is the admin for us for Ireland.
Mm.
And I put a
Yeah.
nice little twist on Ireland.
Yeah. Potato.
We have Brenda, she's Alberta. Sylvia's Ontario. Marina, where are you from?
I'm in the UK as well, Midlands.
Oh.
Lucky you guys, yeah. You're lucky to have Jacquie, because we need 10 more Jacquies around the world.
Yeah, I think she's coming
Oh,
over
we
to
just
us
need-
as well in Ireland.
Yeah. We actually just need to come into our own power.
Yeah.
I think.
I had to step it up a lot, because by nature, like when I was young, I was blue haired and red eyes. Yeah, red hair and blue eyes, and I was told to be quiet.
I had blue
Yeah.
hair, not red
I
eyes.
had
though.
red eyes too, like today. Yeah. I couldn't do my hair blue. Yeah. But yeah, so I have to step it up. I've been stepping it up a lot more, like even moderator, like I'm going little bits here and putting some post up and getting a
Yay.
little,
Yeah, you're doing good, honey.
Yeah.
getting a little bold. Now it's more like you can't sit on the fence. You're either for the regime, you're against the regime. Either Article 61 or you're not. So yeah.
Is there anyone from BC? I've got my best friend is in Penticton and she desperately needs to find some comrades over there.
Okay, so have her private message me. What's her name?
Karen.
Karen. Okay, so have her message me and I'll see if I can find some contacts in BC.
Okay. How do
Yeah.
I spell Mariette? Okay, thank you, Mariette.
I'd like to say it's Marietti, you know, like Marietti.
Yeah.
Like it's a regime, right? Yeah.
You know what
Anyway.
I'm having a problem with right now is trying to get printouts, you know, because I can't go to the library. I can't go to Staples. Well, you can, but you have to do everything online. And I've had problems with the computer as well at times. So getting things printed out is unbelievable right now.
I ended up getting my
Yeah.
own printer. Yeah,
Well,
invisible printer.
It'd be
you
great,
get.
you know, if it would be great if the manual was actually a little booklet for the printout reasons. So it's printing out, it's about 138 pages. Printing that out is quite a thing, especially if you haven't got a side-to-side printer. It'd be great if it was in a booklet form, even if you had to pay 10 quid for it. That's what I think. It's hard to read this stuff online constantly when it's page after page.
Sure, there are people in the UK that would do that, you know, get it printed and mail it to you if you ask somebody around.
Well, you know, it then you want to share it with the group, isn't it? Yeah, but it's not undoable. But a lot of people like hard copies, things in their hands, don't they? And but yeah, it's not a big problem.
In this city, it is. What I am thinking of doing though is getting blank copies and just writing names by hand, and that's it. Addresses by hand.
That's what I did at first.
Yeah.
I did the
looked at
same.
it that way. I didn't think Greaser deserved to be typed, so I just wrote it like one of the many ones that he gets, you know. Yeah.
Are you saying, is Greaser an archetype, a nickname, a last name? I've heard you say Greaser a couple times, and I just wasn't sure.
I think it's Gracer. I call him Greaser.
Person.
Okay, I thought so, but I wasn't sure whether that was like, you know, like the political whip kind of label. I wasn't sure whether that was
Okay, well, he's the
one that did something else to make it smooth for them.
yeah, his title is Honorable Justice Robert Greaser or whatever.
Okay.
But there's nothing honorable about that man when he puts his citations out with people's name and address in there. Nothing honorable about that man.
That's in Alberta, right?
Yeah, yeah. When you look in the citation, he purposely put somebody's full name and the full address in there. What's honorable about a man who does that?
Well, it depends whether, like, there could even with the stick man or the straw man.
They typed it in. There's a bigger story behind that one though, but they purposely put that person's name in there. Full name, full address. What is honorable about a person who does that?
Well, the full name is the identity of the individual, according.
The name is okay, but why address? And she lives. I know where she lives.
For professional.
I have a hard time with being honorable with that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And it's going all over the Commonwealth with these things. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's honorable about a man that does that? I have a hard one with that. Yeah. If he wasn't on notice, I would have put him on notice.
So as we go through this, it's very difficult not to necessarily dig into the person that is behind the signatures. And I'm not trying to say anything. I feel you, and I feel like part of this is, as responsible sovereign beings that are empowered enough to look beyond somebody's behavior to see the individual that's hurting, that thought they had to sell themselves out and us in the process to get what they needed. It's like, how can we treat these people with respect without respecting what they're doing, and also taking our power back by respecting ourselves more than what they're doing? So it's just like, this whole situation that we're in right now is an opportunity for us to judge less, and also figure out how to still hold somebody accountable and say, I know you're not your behavior, but your behavior is unacceptable. It needs to move, and you're okay, but you need to look at your decisions and what you're choosing right now. So I just only put that out so that it's just like, how do we do this from an empowered place, ladies and Mario? It's just, that's kind of where, yeah, that go through the notices and keep it to the policies and the notices and doing the process. And that's how we keep it professional. That's how make it about what's happening instead of the people. And
send the last statement that Jackie just posted to reply in answer to what regarding Robert Gracer of the Alberta Courts in Queen's Bench. So she puts all the answer in there. Yep, we need to press for redress. That's what it is. This has to come to an end.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So dissent on.
Everyone. Yeah. We will get you the date for the next meeting. Thank you again so much for using your valuable time to come out. Hopefully this was useful. You got some answers, hopefully, or just got that fire kindled for another week, and we can all move forward and look forward to coming together with you all again very soon. So thank you again for jumping on, and all of the moderators and everybody. You guys are amazing. I am so grateful to see such amazing women in this world. And Mario, I'm sorry I can't see you, but we know you're amazing because you're the man grounding all of it at the end, at the bottom there, in terms of the view and the gallery here. So it's been amazing. Thanks, guys. Have a good night, and we will see you again very soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Bye. Bye.